Welcome to One of Days with Baz. This is Baz. Sorry. I just really want to teach you guys how to use Python SDK. So we're going to do one new topic today, and kind of funny because I made like 5 of these videos in the same day, and I keep saying what we're going to do today, but we're doing a lot of stuff today. Okay, so, okay, trying not to judge myself. So, I wanted to do this one. This is another tough one. Create a mograph shader effector from Python. And we are going to create color and control the color automatically from Python. Why you would want to do this, in case you're one of those guys that somehow is on my video and you're like, why do I want to make a mograph shader effector? Well, if this is a creative application, if you can imagine a need for it, then you'll be here because you need to use it and you didn't know how to do it, so you came here. That's why I think I made this, right? I mean, unless you're one of those real freaky dudes who's like, I don't know what I'm doing, but I want to make a shader effector from Python. And I don't know why, but I just got an itch to do that without any no reason why. But I'm going to cut out the impressions. I just need a drink. Alright, no more. I'm going to have fun like I always do, so who knows what I'll be doing. But we're going to make this mograph shader effector. I'm scratching my head already because I don't remember how to, but I did it once, so let's do it again. Thank God I can reference my past script. And we're going to make a mograph shader. We're gonna, this isn't it. So be sure to check out the other tutorial I made on how to create a material and make the materials, one of their channels, a color shader material, so that when you make your mograph color or shader effector, that it'll actually have an effect on something, you know, with the texture involved. Yep, you should probably want to do that. I mean, there's actually alternatives too. There's a lot of ways to actually learn something cool today that I should probably make a tutorial on that has to do with all this stuff, but not for this video, unfortunately. So I'm just gonna go ahead and try to get started and really dig deep. I can't dig so deep, so we're gonna have to take it slow. We were making a color shader, right? Color shader, where are you? Okay, here we go. So the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna make the shader effector. So how do you make a mograph shader effector? Have I said that yet? We've got to be like 2 minutes in. I hope I've told you that we're going to make a mograph shader effector. Jesus. I don't edit these videos because I'm using some software that makes it really hard. So you're just going to have to deal with it. Okay, we're dealing with it. So at least these videos are getting out there, right? So mograph shader effector. I'm creating one manually right now because, hey, that looks kind of cool. I think I'm going to keep that, man. I'm going to save that. Inadvertent mistakes, just making cool stuff. Cool cloner. Alright, so I'm so distracted by that. Let me shut this stuff off. So I made a shader effector because this is one of the object types that doesn't have a documented constant. I keep saying constants. I'm just referring to the variables that are constant, or like they're kind of like preprocessor definitions, or something like that. You know, some sort of constant value, ID value. I take things. I swear to God, but I'm sorry. Let me try to move forward here. You're gonna be here like forever. I'm never gonna teach you how to make a mograph effector. I'm sorry. I'm just kidding. Let's do this shader. So we need to get the ID. I've taught this. I'm just gonna keep on doing it though, in case people don't know. You just drag it over to your console here, and you've got the ID 1018561. That's how I got that in the script. And it's a base object, and then we create the object. It's not yet inserted into the document, but we're going to change its name potentially. You can do it like that. And we turn off, so the shader effector automatically affects the scaling, which we saw when I created the shader effector. It made that cool effect. That's usually not desired, so in this case, here's how you would disable that. And the alpha/strength is also enabled by default. You might want to disable that. Here's how you would do that. And if you're wondering how I got this, I'll just keep on showing you how I do that. I just go into the shader, I drag the thing I'm interested in, and bam, I've got it in my console. And also, if you want to know what values it currently is, I wish I had said this in my other tutorials, you just hit enter and you'll get the current value, and you can tweak it and get the other value. This is clearly a Boolean, but this is way more useful when you're dealing with stuff like this. And these is usually like a 0, 1, 2 index, but well, you know, it's useful to be able to know how to query the value. So, yep. In the butt. So now what? I just want to teach these people how to make a shader effector. Teach them all the stuff I made in Python, because the documentation sucks. I'm trying, guys. I'm really trying. Okay, so this is important. This is actually choosing the shader effector's shader. And, well, I just did the same tricks I've been showing you. I went in and I grabbed this, and yeah, it doesn't print anything because there's no settings. So I'm sorry, I meant the channel. So if you want to use a custom shaders channel, which is something I'm used to doing, you grab the channel here. It's already set to custom shader. Otherwise, you would set it to the value that you want. Hit enter. You can see this value is 830. So I probably must have used that value. Yeah, there it is. That's how I'm automating the population of the shader itself. You might want to do a different, like a color, you know. We just do the same thing, man. And this is how you really get your individual power going on, you know, making things yourself, doing your own thing. This is how you do it. So everyone's doing it, man. In the case I used a custom shader, and then how did I actually create the shader? Well, that's done in my script, so we can just follow through. I made a base shader of X color type. So that was a color shader, not to be confused with a mograph color shader, which I did make. It needed a custom ID. I made that up above. I'm not gonna go there though. I'm not gonna go there, guys. Sorry. There's another tutorial. It says like how to create a texture. You know, you can find it. This should all be in a playlist, hopefully. So. Shader, color shader, I just changed the color, and the color is a vector. So you need to use cd4d.vector, and then if you've got values that are like 0 to 255, here's how you turn them into 0 to 1 vector values. You just divide the thing by 255.0. All right? And all this stuff is just specific to me. This is just my stuff. But you would have a value like, you know, ta-da, you would have a full red value there. All right, and okay, now that we created, I hope, I'm sorry, I'm going too fast as usual. Shader effector. What I'm trying to say is, I'm going way too fast. My mind can't keep up. Push, Michael, push. So, even though we created the shader, we haven't added the shader into the, is the shader the right word? Like we have the mograph shader effector, but now we've made an actual custom shader, right? We need to make sure that the mograph effector says, I want that shader that just got created to be my custom shader. And that's what we do here. We say blah 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 equals the shader color shader. It's not very well named, but it's there. Well, it is a shader and it's a color shader. It could be called shader color. Either way, that's how you assign it. So you created that shader and then you assign it. And then you have to insert it. And I said this before in another tutorial. I'll say it again. I'm not sure if you need both of these or just one, but I do them both, and my shit works. Excuse my language. So, yeah, language is good. So, I made it. I made my shader effector. I inserted it like that. Now you've got to actually take that whole shader effector and insert that into the document. So just to evaluate what we've done, again, we made a shader effector. We used that custom ID that we got ourselves. We set its name maybe, right? We took off some of that default crap that we didn't want active, in my case at least. And then we selected the channel to be a custom shader, and then we created a shader, and we made that a color shader. And just to be very specific, when I say we made a color shader again, just so that we're not confusing it with, because there's another thing called mograph color shader. I'm trying not to get into those. I'm saying that we made a color, just a color for the shader, right? And then we specified the color as a vector. Once we made that color shader, we added it, like we specified it into the shader effector, which means that the shader effector now knows, oh, I have that custom color shader. It's there. But the document doesn't have the shader effector. So now we added the shader effector into the document. And then even now, we wouldn't even see it because we didn't call that special thing. But before we get to the special thing, let's take an even more look at what we're doing here, what I did in the code. I inserted the object. I gave it a parent and I don't know why it's called pred, but I'm just gonna say like associative object next to and shader effector, base effector selection. Oh, I even I gave a mograph selection to this effector. Cool. So, oh, the most important thing, because I almost forgot, is that now that you have this effector, you usually want to have it affecting something like a cloner, right? For instance, like you make a cloner. You make a cloner, right? And then you want the shader to be affecting the cloner. You got to go to effectors, right? Well, we're going to script that, putting and activating the shader effector in the cloner. So in this example, what we do is we get the cloners. It's called an in-exclude list for the effectors, and that's what this is. And then we insert the object of the shader effector. And then what the heck is 1? This is probably a Boolean value for something. It probably means active. You know, like it's activated. The check mark is on. That's what that is. I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty confident. That's why I'm not checking it. And oh, this is the weird part, is that you cannot do cloner blah 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 dot insert object. You actually have to get the in-exclude list, insert the object, and then reassign that exclude list as the cloner's list. Very important, because this right here won't work. All right. I think that's everything. We just created it. I already summarized it like twice. I realized I might have summarized it too much. But you're just gonna. This is life, my friends. Life is not perfect. I'm going to explain things in an imperfect manner. But hey, we're making tutorials, dudes. People's getting smarter. All right, take it easy, my friends. I'll see you on the other side.